Buttholes.
Perfect.
And we're
Everybody. Welcome to Roll Call.
Hi. Welcome to Roll Call. It's our monthly interview show. I just decided we needed to get the pinnacle of professionalism, which is Danny in here, to say buttholes right as you go live. I love you, Danny. Thank you so much for doing this. We're going to be interviewing Tanya DePass, Cipher of Tyr, on the socials. More often than not, I am David, the druid who doesn't know animals very well. But today I will be playing Lee, a level 39 pancake artist, which also sounds just as made up. And then I'm co-hosted here with Danny Gage. Tell us about you,
friends. Yes. If you don't watch Misfits of Alceta, I play the warlock on that channel with a very sad past. And I do like cosplay and stuff. But mostly just really like people and friends and gaming, which is why we're here today with the lovely Tanya. Is there enough of an intro for me? Can we go on?
That was a really good job of an intro. Tanya, please introduce yourself to us in the crowd.
Oh, hello. I'm Tanya, also known as Cipher of Tyr on the internet. Previously, I played a level 20 Paladin Druid with the Scotia Barbarians. This is a story on Rivals, but we just ended earlier in the month. IRL, I'm a level 50 human. I have no idea what my class or specialization would be. I probably would be a gnome because I'm short IRL. I'm a gnome artificer. That's what I am because I'm short and I like to make things. I don't do it well though. But I'm an internet ne'er-do-well, basically. I see the alarmed look on Lee's face.
Oh no, it's I'm always a little bit alarmed. I have a 4-year-old.
Fair.
Like, why is it quiet?
I wasn't logged into Twitch, which is okay. But anywho, I'm so glad to have you. When we first thought of doing this show, Roll Call, where we would bring people in who are part of this space, part of the world, the first thing I pitched was bringing you on, Tanya, because been a huge fan. I was there for episode 1 of Rivals, seeing it live. I've made a few pancakes for you and about you. So for reasons, we had to push this back until today, and I'm so happy to have you. And we've got a couple questions, and then
we've got to hang out IRL.
This is true. We did an event related. That's true. I almost brought my griddle though, because that's all I know. That's all I'm comfortable with doing is just like, who do I make? I make pancakes. No, it was a really, really nice time. We had a great chat. Yeah, we were doing an event in Chicago, and I was just like, I'm going to be in town, and it was really awesome. So we're going to throw some questions at you. Chat, if you have questions, put them in there. Everyone be nice, respectful, and let's just have a really good time. Danny, I think you maybe had the first question.
Yes, I have our opening question for you. A little bit of a, icebreaker. What was your first character, and what got you into TTRPGs? Tell us about your character.
My first character, I don't remember because it was that long ago. But my most memorable outside of Celise was character, and Danny, you may laugh at this, because he was a blatant ripoff of Fenris from Dragon Age 2. It was a 3-5 campaign with coworkers of mine at the time. And it was like, when we used to get together in person and you'd look up and the sun was coming up kind of campaign. But he was an elven rogue, older, memory issues, and his whole thing was trying to kind of figure out who he was before. And I did the tropey thing of he did this to himself for reasons, but then he got eaten by a dragon.
That's how he went down?
Yeah, I had a bad roll, even though he was a rogue, and he did not manage to get, because he was basically, like, I forget why, because it's still now been like 12 years, but he was like going to be sacrificed to this dragon in a town, and he was tied to a stake, and I failed my like sleight of hand to untie myself and get away. And the dragon just went jump.
That is so devastating.
Hey,
I feel, yeah. Oh, such a bummer.
Yeah, 5e doesn't let you die nearly as easily as older editions in other games.
Yeah, no, he went to the Hall of his ancestors because that I mean, we weren't super low level, but I wasn't high enough level to survive a dragon trying to chomp me.
Sure. God, I love that it was like basically Fenris. That's like my favorite character.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. I've seen your Dragon Age playthroughs, Tanya.
See, I've played all of Dragon Age games. I've played every Dragon Age game, but then to a point.
Like you don't finish them?
No.
Oh no.
The first one, I just the combat system, I was just like, I'm not into this. And then the third one, I'm stuck in some like dream world thing with fire, and I just can't get out. But
you're
anyway,
in the Fade, so you're in hell.
Yeah. That's a rough.
I do feel like I'm in hell, so they did a great job with that part.
Yes, it's the Fade. It's hell.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
God. Yes.
So, like I was saying, I was at Stream of Many Eyes way back so long ago, and it's one of those like, oh man, this is the highlight of my career, and it was so early into it. That it was such a bummer because like I got to meet so many awesome people. I've made you multiple pancakes that prior, much after the fact, we became friends, and I'm like, no, I want to go back and be able to gush. But I did get to see the first ever Rivals of Waterdeep, and you just like you were saying, you wrapped up 5 years this month. Such a cool cast. Rotating DMs, like what the idea of Rivals, what made that happen? How did that get off the ground and just brought together some of the most amazing people?
Shout out to our friend Greg Tito. It is his doing that Rivals existed or became a thing. So kind of like we were in Twitter orbit, and then we met and things like that. Greg and I had kind of orbited around each other, and then I've been on Dragon Talk. And then when he was putting together shows, he reached out and said, hey, we want to do a show to show people how anyone can learn to play D&D, because the 5th edition was relatively new. And it just worked out that we were a cast of people of color. We were all local in Chicago for the first 6 seasons until the Panini. And Greg had reached out to a couple people, and he's like, do you know anyone? And I was like, well, yes. And so once we had details and kind of like what we would do and how things would work out for launching A Stream Many Eyes, I reached out to Sharif and Brandon and Cicero, because at the time, like Brandon, Cicero, or Sharif and Cicero and I had been on a podcast together, and I knew Brandon through streaming. And we all were at different skill levels for D&D. Some of us had never touched a D20 before that. Because for, I think, Brandon and Sharif on stage at Stream Many Eyes was their first time ever playing.
Get out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible.
And Sharif's run as DM has been amazing too. I love Sharif DMing.
It's the puzzles, isn't it?
I hate puzzles, but when I'm not in them, they're the best.
See, you weren't there in the puzzle.
Right.
But yeah, we all flew out to LA, premiered on stage, and that was wild because I had done streaming before, but I'm not an actor. I don't do improv. But we sat on stage in front of hundreds of people in person, and then I'm glad we found out after, but we were on Twitch front page all weekend. Mm-hmm. And so that would have made me incredibly nervous because I was still new-ish to streaming at that point. And thousands of people watching at home got to see us premiere, the story, the story about Waterdeep, and then bring those kids back and every week show
gorgeous, right on half time.
It's awesome. And I've also been so lucky to get to make like pancakes of a lot of the characters when we were doing Brittle Champions. And I loved that I got key art given to me because and Sean and I just decided like, all right, when we do key art stuff, people are cool. We're just going to take our time and make as best we can. And I've got some of my favorites from that. And Celise is just such an awesome character.
Yeah.
What got Brian and Eugenio brought in?
Let me think. So Carlos and Serena had left. Serena had left for working for a crit role at that point. And Brandon decided after season 8, he was good. He was done. Nothing was going on there. And then Life TM happened, and we wound up having 2 spaces open at the end of our 8th season because Cicero Life TM. And I enjoy Eugenio so much. He's animated, and he's just such a good storyteller and such a good party member. And I've known Brian like 25 years. He's one of my oldest friends. And we had done a one-shot of Star Trek for World 20Con. And it wasn't intentional, but it wound up kind of being the precursor to going, hey, so we got these 2 open slots. You interested? And Eugenio was like, sure. And then Brian was like, me? Are you sure? like me, actually me. Because he hadn't done RPG stuff in ages, and he hadn't played D&D in forever. I was like, yeah, you're funny. You have camera presence. We're not asking you just to ask you.
Right.
And then we started our 9th season, and it was like they'd always been there.
Yeah.
Right. Because you had the chemistry, like you knew that they had chemistry with as a person with you.
Yeah.
And when you know you have that, like people can be great players.
Yeah.
So
and then
sorry, what were you going to say, Lee?
I was eager to talk about Eugenio, but I'm going to hold off on that.
We can talk about Eugenio. Eugenio's amazing.
No, it comes back. It'll come back.
Gonna ring. Someone go tell him, because he's streaming now, that if your ears are ringing, it's because I'm talking about him.
Yeah,
he's just one of my favorite people.
Yes. But
I want to give it room to breathe. I want to give it room to breathe so that I can come back to.
Perfect. We'll let it breathe then, because I was just going to ask, like, Tanya, you said it had been a really long time since you made your first character, so you didn't remember. What was it that got you into TTRPGs? Has this always been something that
I didn't
you've
answer
been
that
doing?
Part.
Like, did you start with D&D? No, you're okay. It's like a 2-part question. Those are always impossible to track.
Wow. So I was the nerdy kid, no surprise there. They like to read and everything else, and my imagination has always been bigger than me. And when D&D happened, I also had to had to navigate the Satanic Panic. I am that many years old, but I figured it was a way to express myself, because like I am, despite what people may think, I am not an extrovert. I'm not outgoing. I'm very happy to be at home. Leave me here, drop me off at a museum, and no one talk to me for the rest of the day. But it was a way to express myself if words wouldn't come to me. But I've always been I'd like to think I'm a good talker, and creative storytelling with other people. Once I realized, oh, that's what TTRPGs is. But I like played Big Eyes Small Mouth. I've done some Pathfinder, 2E, banned Thaco forever. And it appealed to me as a creative person, where sometimes, when you try to write, the words aren't always there, but sitting at a table creating a story with your friends also filled that void of needing to have a creative outlet.
Yeah, do you feel like it was like the interaction that really helps because you have other people to play off of? The communal
absolutely.
Creation. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, you brought up chemistry, whether it's a one shot for charity or it's an ongoing show, when you have good chemistry, it's not just you can be real creative, but you can be safe. You can have those moments, because I should find the clip, but Brian and Eugenio co-DM season 11. Eugenio is an accomplished game master, writer, developer, but Brian was cautious slash I don't know if I ever want to do this about DMing, and so they co-DM'd. And I will always give him a hard time if he doubts himself, because in our very first episode of season 11, Celise and Tyr, because she's a paladin, had this amazing emotional moment because I decided to drop Blood Hunter. I tried Blood Hunter, didn't like it, and switched over to Ranger. And so we kind of had this moment of her talking to Tyr, and that was her switch over to Ranger. And it was this beautiful emotional moment. And later, where I was like, "Oh yeah, I just ad-libbed all that," and I'm like, "What? Excuse me? What do you mean you ad-libbed that?"
That's awesome.
That's amazing. I love it when people do that.
Yes, I told
it
him
was
he
just
is never
absolutely awesome.
allowed to doubt himself again.
No,
We try to tell that to Hope all the time. It doesn't
Oh
work.
yeah,
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Hope.
Hope's so wonderful.
Actually,
just the
I
sweetest
have
bean.
I have a link for that because I recently sent it to someone.
Oh, heck yeah.
A link for what?
A link for specifically that scene.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There you go,
Dropping it in chat?
Mandy. It's a long segment. I mean, watch it after this because that's a big chunk of it. It's like the whole scene.
Mhm.
But speaking of clips, though, Lady Luck in the chat is our clip queen. Most of our
Nice.
Actually, I think 99% of the clips we have for Rivals and Motherlands are thanks to Lady Luck. So
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Lady Luck.
All the thanks and all the appreciation for people who do that, because I try to go back and like take clips of things and I figure, hey, never know if I'll need them for stuff, but it's so much work. And they just do it like it's easy.
Yeah, I'm so self-conscious doing them too, because it's like, especially if I'm in it, forget it. I don't want to see myself, show myself. But even like with other people's things, I'm like, oh, are people going to think this is bad? Did I do a bad job? I've got stuff to work out.
same. Oh, hi. Speaking of Brian, we summoned him.
Ryan. I got a quick Brian story, because I adore so many, like, your streams and your games have introduced me also to some of my favorite streamers to watch, because I don't really watch a lot of streamers, but I watch you, Eugenio, Brian, and DJ anytime you're on. And because you're in Chicago and I'm in Arizona, you and Brian are a lot of times like I wake up because I have a kid and it's so early, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna pop into here, just watch a little bit, and then go get my kid. But so thank you so much. And I was in an airport about to have like the longest travel day, and I watched Brian do his morning stream, and just such a warm, velvet voice, so kind, and it was just such a fun time that like it made my travel day so much better. Now to the other co-DM, let's talk about Eugenio.
Yeah, and he's not here to defend himself because he's live.
And his run on Into the Motherlands, which I really want to talk about, because that show also, I mean, introduced me to DJ. And with Eugenio, it's like the one thing, you know, people always talk about GMs and games, and it's like, oh, who's your favorite GM, this and that. I've never felt more cared for as a viewer than watching Eugenio GM Into the Motherlands.
Really?
Yeah, I said that once too. I think in chat, like even like when he's just like, all right, go take a bio. I was like, I will, thanks. Like,
I will drink my water. Thanks for reminding me.
Such a cool show. So I really want to get into with that show. Like, how did that come? Because that was Twitch, right? Twitch brought that to you, or
so. Brian is actually our intro voice for Into the Motherlands, if you listen to the podcast or go back and watch VODs. So I've been working with Twitch on some things, pitching some ideas, because at the time, people I was working with, they wanted to bring more content that was TTRPGs to Twitch. And I threw a bunch of ideas at them, and they were like, okay, there's plenty of D&D. You can't throw a rock around Twitch without hitting some D&D. I suggested Star Trek, and they're like, not sure. I guess they were worried about IP stuff. I don't know why entirely, but that's fine because I'm bad at running Star Trek. Brian can attest to that. um, and so I threw, and then they came back with, if you could do this yourself, if you could tell your own story, what would you do that? And I was like, what? What do you mean tell my own story? Because I wanted to be a novelist when I was a kid. And I was like, okay, sure, let me collaborate ideas and kind of see what I can come up with. So some of the same people I reached out to about the other pitch ideas, I was like, okay, here's the deal. Twitch is offering X. We would do like 12 episodes, but we need a plan, a conceit. And then B-Dave, our friend B-Dave Walters, was like, what about Mansa Musa? And I was like, who? Because I'm a terrible history student. Don't ever ask me historical facts. Ask the opera geek who plays Civ more than anyone I know. And so we came with the idea of basically descendants of Mansa Musa, who's a real emperor in the 11th century. I don't know. This is why I'm bad at this. And the idea was an actual voyage his descendants took that never made it to the Americas. What if they made it somewhere else? And so they landed on this planet, and we took this pitch back. They're like, cool. And then we had to basically be the Gromit gif of being on the train tracks while being in the cart while laying down the tracks. And that was us getting the show together. But we got it together. We got our cast. We got things written. You know, our crew that wrote that first season. The Bronze Girl wrote our first season adventure. And somehow we pulled off 12 episodes of this show to start. And then Twitch funded 3 more seasons.
Amazing.
And then between season 1 and 2, we were like, we could make a game. And then we're like, I guess, sure, let's do a Kickstarter. If it funds, great, and we'll figure it out. And then it funded in 90 minutes. And I almost just laid on the floor and cried because I didn't expect that.
Yeah, but you have such an awesome team though.
Yeah, our team is great. And Brian, our Bohemian, is not just the voice of the show, but also has done some editing on the game itself. So
absolutely. Yeah. Is there what was the question I was going to ask? You know, when you have a question and then you just kind of forget it instantly.
Oh yeah.
Oh yay, okay. I'm not the only one. I'm so sorry. It was gonna be, I don't remember what I was gonna ask, but I will say I backed that and I cannot wait till the day that we get those dice, because I remember I was very much a dice goblin when that was going, and I was like, oh, these are gorgeous. But yes, everything is so pretty. Such a pretty and awesome Kickstarter. Speaking about making things with friends, I don't know. Tell me about you were the founder of I Need Diverse Games, correct? Yes. What inspired that? What made you passionate about that and gave you the reason to take a step forward and make this be a thing?
Spite.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, it was spite and it was anger. So 2014, when the dark side of the internet and gaming was really going forth, aka Gamergate. Earlier that year, I'd gone to GDC for the first time, the Game Developer Conference, as with a friend who wanted to get in the industry. Fast forward to later on when the dark side was more prevalent, and I was paying a lot more attention to games news, and we were starting to see a lot of games rolling out, and then we had the dreaded "women are too hard to animate" comment. And I was just annoyed, and I was mad before work because I still had a regular day job at that point. And all I tweeted was, I need diverse games because women are too hard to animate. And also, I don't get to see people like me in games very often. We die early, we get fridged, or they're always a sassy black friend, or women who look like me, short, black, thicker, or to be less polite, fat. We don't get to exist in games at all, or we're the butt of jokes. And I just was tired of game announcement after game announcement where it's the same Duke Nukem looking dude. And
Absolutely.
And it actually started on my own Twitter, but eventually I just gave it its own Twitter because my mentions were unusable and unreadable, because people apparently don't like the idea of diversity. And I thought it would peter out like most hashtags do, but it was right time, right place, fire in a bottle, and it took off, went viral for a few days, gave it its own Twitter, its own Tumblr, eventually a grown-up website. And talking about the issues just led down a really weird, windy road of talking about inclusion, eventually starting to do diversity consulting, being on podcasts, making my own podcast. And then in 2015, I lost my day job and decided I'm going to see if this will be a full-time job. And weirdly, it was until this May.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So cool.
That's wild that you, first of all, many thoughts going through my head. I love that it was fueled by spite. So good. And what brain is not working right now.
Okay.
Fueled by
We're
spite.
on early.
Yeah, and oh man, it was a really good question, you guys. I'm sorry. I think it will come back to me. I'm just panicking right now.
In the meantime, I do have a question from chat that was earlier. I need you to really rack your brain because I know this is going to be a difficult one.
Okay.
And I don't know if we're going to need the rest of the half hour we got going on, but who is your favorite redheaded opera singer whose name starts with the letter K? This was asked by the Opera Geek, which is coincidentally an opera name, but yeah.
I don't know. That would be one Kelly Butler, aka the Opera Geek, the Ginger Flame, those who dances on the grave of our enemies. I'm not Strike, so I don't know all of her titles, but that would be one Kelly. No, when Strike Red Kite comes into her chat, he literally has 2 messages worth of her titles.
Wow.
Incredible. How do you get titles? I want to know how this happens.
Yeah, I'm just Pancake
Kelly,
Guy more often.
Kelly, if you're in chat, please tell us how all of these titles were awarded to you.
Yes, we would really like to know.
I like how we're like sitting here like waiting for. I apologize.
Like waiting for an answer. Yeah.
Lady Luck has a question as well. I'm like, wait, everyone stop. Kelly, we need these answers.
We will wait until we get an answer.
No, Lady Luck wants to know, what is your favorite animal friend or enemy from an actual play that you were in?
Ooh.
Oh, this is tough. But it has to be Fenris from Rivals. Second runner-up is it wasn't an actual play, but I did get a bat familiar in Idle Champions for Fen, my Black Die Society character. But that didn't happen in the campaign. But in Idle Champions, I have a fuzzy, cute little bat.
That's cool.
I love a cute little bat character.
It's a wee bat named Izzy.
Oh, Izzy.
I feel like if I ever had a familiar or an animal friend, I would just always forget they're there. Like I would forget. I'm not
out.
I'm dead inside. I'm sorry.
Animal. I've got a
He's right there.
Yeah. And then we have Urban Bohemian. We have 2 back-to-back questions. The first question is, what?
What?
That was it. My assumption is that the follow-up to that is the actual question. Yeah. Just what?
That's a Brian
question too.
That's a Brian type
question. What's a TTRPG that you'd like to play that you haven't had a chance yet, streamed or home game?
Oh shoot, I forgot the Infernal Goose. I will come back to that. Blue Rose.
I don't think I've heard about that one.
I mean, either.
It's from Green Ronin. It's the Age system, which is 3d6, like the Dragon Age RPG. Both of those by Green Ronin. And I want to play it, A, because it looks fun, and B, because being queer is the default.
Nice.
Yes, being queer is default in the world of Blue Rose. So I want to find a few friends, and I'd probably do a home game
Yeah,
because
that
even
feels
though
like a
we
home
were
game.
well, I'd
Because you can
like
be
to
safe with them.
You can be safe, but there's
Yeah.
also if I said that, and I said this elsewhere, that if I did a stream game again, I also would like to raise money to pay people because pay people in general, but B, you're asking for several hours of time, etc. But also, right now, with the way the country is, at least in the US, I don't know that I'd feel safe having a very, very queer game, a very queer cast, and having that be a public thing where anybody could wander in. Not because I'm scared of homophobes, but I want to have fun. I don't want to have to like be on guard for
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours.
Right.
And like have to be like watching your chat the entire time. I know what you mean.
And you would like, it's not even a question of like, oh, probably like it absolutely would. It would be, be a hellscape in chat. And that's,
yes, but
That
since
doesn't
since Lady Luck brought up, I did forget because it was a couple of one shots. It wasn't an ongoing campaign, but I made a monster, the Infernal Goose, based off the Terrible Goose game. Yes, it's on D&D Beyond. You can go grab it. And I did a Rivals one shot where they faced the Infernal Goose. And I think it's in one of the clips where I did a charity game on my channel where basically everybody went to hell and fought the goose.
Amazing.
So
How did it go? I need to know how this ended.
Oh God, Brian was in that game. Did y'all live? Or I think everyone survived because they started off dead, went to hell, had to fight a goose in order to come back to the land of living. I think they all made it back.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to go find the VOD and then look at
the first time Gabe wrecked the goose.
Oh yeah, Gabe was a monk, and basically I just was like, well, you made it, because Gabe did like 18 million points of damage like a Final Fantasy game.
Did the like a punch kick combo, and like, it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, and I was just like, I had scaled the goose up a little bit, and I was like, well, I guess, sure. It was one of those moments as a DM where it's like you plan combat and you think it's gonna last for a while, then it's like, we killed your BBG, and I'm like, well, that went faster than I thought.
Yep.
You gather around the corpse. You gather around the corpse and play rock, paper, scissors. All right, you guys just play rock, paper, scissors. I got nothing else for you.
That's it. It's a game. Oh.
Well, we're done.
I did remember the other question, the rest of the question I was going to ask earlier, if I could ask that really fast.
Please do.
You had said that I Need Diverse Games was kind of like started with spite, and that I was like, oh, you had mentioned something about game dev. Is that something you like have taken with you into game dev, and is like something that you kind of focus on, or like how did that come with you to your jobs that you do now?
Well, a lot of times, pre-day job I'm in now, dev job, I took I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. I always have the mantra of do no harm but take no shit. Of I don't want to minimize or assume ill intent when you go to studios, or when you go and they show you their hard work, and it's like, well, is this okay? Is it not okay? And I took it with me. And there are times when I am incredibly spiteful. Like, when I see games that I haven't touched and I'm like, oh, you put this out in the world. Couldn't be me. But when you are working with a team, when you're in a studio, you also have to consider you're working with other humans. You can't assume ill intent. And at the end of the day, you all want the best product, and you all want the best game to be out there on the market. So you have to consider, and at least I try to bring to it is, I know you may not have thought of this, maybe it's just not your life experience.
Sure.
So if you have like a primary, like I would go and do DEI consulting,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's 3 white dudes on a call and the one person of color who probably can't say anything or won't say anything because you need a job. But me being external, I can come in and go, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You should take that out because yes, you're paying me, but I don't have to come back and work with you every day.
Right.
And you
is that
hired
really
me, so
empowering to like be able to be on those teams and to be able to bring this like to light, where as before you just kind of have to hope for the best.
Yeah. Again, pre-current job, I had that freedom where someone who is working in studio, or maybe, and I'm sure Danny, you may have experienced this too, where you become the catch person for everything that is not about cis straight white dudes, or they come to you, I have a question, I don't know if I should ask, but I want to do a thing and I want to know if it's okay or is this offensive? And I'm like, first off, I'm not the spokesperson for fill in the blank.
Right.
But also, if you have to ask if it's offensive, it probably is offensive.
Right. Yeah, that was another thing I kind of like thought when you were telling me about what you do. Because you primarily, are you like on the writing team? Is that what you're doing?
I'm on the writing team, yes.
Okay, so you're on the writing team. But like, I feel like even though you're primarily a writer, do people sometimes cross that line of like putting you in the DEI consultant spot and you're like, come on? Because I feel like that could be something that happens. Or are they really good about it?
I mean, they're really good about it. I can't go into specifics, obviously, but
yeah,
any feedback I've had has been well received, and it's been like, thank you for saying this, and yes, we're listening. So
that's awesome to hear.
We've been circling around it for a moment, and I just want to say, because it has been announced, the current job is being one of the senior writers on the upcoming Wonder Woman game.
Yep.
It's very limited as to what we can talk about regarding that, but I was like, current job, I'm like, I gotta say, I'm so excited for you.
Just want to recognize how cool that is.
It's so cool.
It was,
can you talk about?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say it was a wild journey, but I think that's where you were going.
Tell me about the journey. Was it wild?
So the circuitous way that this happened is, I've got friends both the TTRPG side and the video game side, and a friend of mine, James, reached out and said, "Hey, a studio is hiring, and they need more writers." And the way the job was written, she didn't think that they would get anyone who is not a white dude. And she said, I recommended you to a friend who already works there and he can refer you. Would you be interested? And I was like, as long as I don't have to move, because I do not want to live in Seattle. It's expensive as hell. And I said, if I don't have to move and it's remote, sure, I'll give it a shot. Why not? And this is also falling along when everybody was eating each other and turning into the devil about WotC and the OGL and the summit. And then my brain was like, if you can get out, go. So yeah, did all my interviews, had to sign an NDA just to interview. And then ironically, I got my offer letter while I was sitting in the summit. And then my birthday was 2 days later. So I was like, deuces, I'm out.
Amazing. Oh, awesome. I bet that was a breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah,
I see that come up.
Oh yeah, I had my laptop. I was taking notes, and then I saw my email. I was like, I know I'm not going to say that because that sounds terrible. But for a split second, I was like, and I no longer have to care about any of this bullshit.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds worse than it is. But it was also,
there was heightened emotions at that time.
There was a lot. I'm not even going to be polite about it. It was some bullshit.
Yeah.
There were certain people who make their whole personality about hating anything having to do with if you like D&D, if you don't hate WotC with every fiber of your being, you're a terrible person. That was the prevalent, like the loudest people online, and the people basically going, you're a sellout. And I was like, you know what? You all can have this bullshit.
Yeah.
You can have your arguments, your fights, and now months later, like 2 months later, a lot of the same people are real quiet.
Yeah, because there's no one to feed their bullshit to as much anymore.
Well, that is just like, well, that and just the disingenuousness of it. Because I finally just said, I'm going. I'm not discussing it. I'm not giving any feedback. I'm not giving my feelings on the summit other than I retweeted some people while I was there and when I got home. Well, I really was hoping to hear what you had to say. And I was like, you all lost that privilege.
Yeah.
You know, that you took care of yourself by not saying anything.
Well, if I had said something, I probably would have been blocked and banned by half the people we know because I was not going to be nice about it.
No, it was a lot. I was there on the digital side of that, so I mean, it was a totally different experience. But yeah, I feel you. I've had very similar feelings after all of that.
Well, that and it was just, you know, at the end of the day, us turning on each other accomplished literally nothing.
Yeah. Like, let's focus on what we can do that's constructive.
Yeah. I mean, and I could easily turn that into a rant, but I'll be nice. We will come back. We will come back to joyous things about RPGs.
We will come back to joyous things. We'll save rants for later, but we can rant, and we want you all to know that.
There's plenty to come.
Stay tuned for more.
Part 2.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's just like, I'm so happy to have you on here. I love that this show affords me the opportunity to just be like, hey, can I bring someone on that I really want to just know the stories behind the things? And so I'm really glad that you said yes. And then we got to have you come on. And you've brought together just some of the most amazing people, and gotten, like, people know a lot of people based on games that I've seen you in. And then I've seen these things, and then now just the growth from those things is just awesome. I don't have a follow-up question to that. I just think you're awesome.
I have a question, because Tanya, you've mentioned how you really loved to read when you were younger and how you wanted to be, I think, a novelist, you said. And now you're writing. Was this what you wanted to do, like, in a different way? Is this what you expected? Tell us more about that. I want to hear about all of your favorite things about reading and writing.
So surprising no one, I'm a big nerd and I read above my level as a kid. Because I grew up on Southside Chicago, you know, it's no secret we grew up poor. I mean, like, on food stamps poor. So a lot of times reading was my only entertainment. And my mom, you know, apparently was a big reader too, because we just had books all over the house. But I probably shouldn't have read The Exorcist when I was really young. That would explain a lot about me. But
how old were you when you read that?
The actual Exorcist? Oh, wow. I know I was not quite a teen.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
That's amazing. See, I thought I was in trouble for reading Jane Eyre when I was young. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to read this. But The Exorcist is another level.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure what happened to Baby Jane. I know I was at least late teens, but I still was like, there's something wrong with y'all.
Amazing. Do you have any, like, favorite books from then?
Oh God.
About?
So I don't know if Brian's still in chat, but this is one where I swear, you know how you always have that one book or movie or TV show where you remember it, but everyone else is like, what are you talking about? I swear there was this kid's book and it was about, like, monsters under the bed, but the monsters were shoes. And I remember this, and I don't know why specifically, but I just remember, like, there's a little girl leaning over the bed talking to, like, this row of shoes under the bed, but they were monsters. I cannot remember what the book was, but it was, like, aimed at, it was basically like a kids, please make your room kind of book. Otherwise the shoe monsters might eat you. But I cannot remember it. And I feel like Brian, if he's around, would, because we're close in age, but also Paddington Bear. I still have my copy of Paddington from when I was a kid.
Paddington Bear. Oh, my heart.
Good
So
old
you said that
Patsy.
you read and your mom read. I have an interesting like generational kind of book thing, but what do you and your mom do you have any books that you would talk about that you both read? Um like were the interests
Um,
aligned or just there were just books and that was just your gateway into reading?
when I was younger, we had a lot of sci-fi and a lot of fantasy, a lot of horror around the house. But you know, my mom, when she was still alive, she got very like super religious as she got older. Be- and it was weird because we had all these books around the house, but then she bought in the Satanic Panic, which I couldn't figure out. But like she's the reason I watched Star Trek and Star Wars and like the original series when I was very young. And so that kind of sci-fi fantasy was always there, but then it was like as she got older, she kind of got away from it. Because I never was able to quite explain what I do when she was still alive. Um, but yeah, my love of sci-fi and fantasy actually came from all the books that were around the house.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
My dad's favorite book growing up was Dune. And it was really cool for me to many years later read Dune and just have this like mental time warp of like, because it's my favorite book too, right? So I'm like I'm laying on my bed reading this book, and at one point my dad with it fresh eyes was reading it too, and it was just this really cool thing. And now I've read like 14 Dune books, and I love it's like my favorite.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was
Sci-fi or
14 Dune
fantasy?
books.
There's so many Dune books
I didn't know
and
that.
so
I've
many
always been a
branching books.
fantasy nerd. Like my book, my formative book was Lord of the Rings. That was the one my dad would always tell me bedtime stories of. Wow, that's a lot of books.
Yeah, it is. And I still have an old copy, old edition of the Silmarillion somewhere around here.
Wow.
Is it like this gorgeous cover?
No, it's one of those where it was like clearly someone really loved this book because I think I got it. I got it at like a book sale or something.
I love that. It was well loved.
Dune, I know that I read it, but I have the worst memory. I know I've read it. Wow, my brain just shut off. I was trying to think of other books I've read, but it was like a lot of horror that we saw made in the movies as we were getting older. Like I remember, what's the movie with Carrie?
Isn't Carrie?
Oh yeah, you're right. It is just called Carrie. You know, with blood and prom.
Yeah.
I recently got into horror, so I was like not sure. I was like, maybe.
I always give it a different title in my head. I'm like, there's no way this is named Carrie, and then I look at them like, oh well, it is.
Blood prom.
I mean, that's accurate too. But I saw Lady Luck had another question. Then Danny, did you remember your question from before?
Oh yeah, I think I asked it. I don't remember what I asked anymore. I think it was just something about getting to be doing the diversity in games and stuff. So we went over all that. But Lady Luck does have some questions that I believe we can read out. The first one is, how did you really feel about Gary the Wizard in the Rivals Gen Con one shot? Tell us your deepest thoughts.
It was such an intense question. We went dark for a moment.
Masood, when he pulled that puppet out from under the table, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then I was just like, I guess this is really, really, really weird. Or as Gosrick would say, it's not weird, but it was absolutely weird. But it also, I have to give him credit. He brought all of that to do that one game. And I cannot split my attention to like be a puppet and run a game and be present. So I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. And my brain just kept thinking of the old Microsoft assistant.
Oh, yes. Was that the Clippy thing? The little clip?
The wizard was before Clippy.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow,
Amazing.
Mandy found the clip of "That's Not Weird."
Heck
See, this is what
yeah.
I mean. This is why Mandy is our clip queen. As I was
That's
talking, I
awesome.
found that
It's
clip from
incredible.
Rivals. But yeah, I just kept thinking of like the Microsoft Assistant that was pre-Clippy, and I'm like, I'm in some level of hell, but okay.
I'm
I
in a
love the way
different
people
level of
surprise us.
hell. I'm in a different level of hell because while you're saying Clippy, I'm just hearing you say Blippy, and that's been my world.
What's that? Is that a kid's show?
It
Ah,
is.
I
It
see.
is. Lady Luck has another question here,
oh
and it's
no.
going kind of back to the books. Are you currently reading anything, and do you have any good recommendations?
Ooh.
She's gonna laugh at this. I bought the Zelda lore book
Heck yeah.
because I for all that I grew up as one of those kids that grew up with Zelda, I have no like I am not a deep lore person, at least for Zelda, but like, oh, I can't grab it easily. But it's over there. It's behind me somewhere. But I was like, fine, like I'm just gonna buy the lore book because I'm tired
Yeah.
of asking like between Lady Luck, Zero, and the Opera Geek, who I think have a hive mind of Zelda knowledge. Yes, Hyrule Historia is what I got. And also Eugenio, who has been enjoying the newest Zelda immensely. I was
Mhm.
like, I'm just buying the history book. I'm just getting the lore book so I can stop bothering my friends.
I think that's a smart
Yeah,
move. There's a lot of lore there.
I didn't know that. I mean, obviously there is, but I never know these things because I don't know like lore of like anything. But I watched Eugenio, I think maybe his
Mhm.
first Zelda stream, and he went super into the like which timeline is which timeline and how
Yeah.
they're over. I'm like,
And he
what?
isn't he concurrently also replaying an older Zelda game like while still streaming Tears of the Kingdom? And I'm like, I can keep one game straight at a time. I can do one.
Right.
Oof. I don't know. When a notification pops up, I just see streaming Zelda, and I don't see like which one, but I
It's like the
he's a
longest title in
blast.
creation.
Zelda Tears of
Yeah.
the Kingdom?
No, just like because it's not
Or
just Tears of the
oh
Kingdom, it's
yeah,
like
The
Legend of
Legend.
Zelda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuel asked me if there's a game I'm waiting to be released. Baldur's Gate 3, when that game comes out, no one's allowed to
Yes.
talk to me. But
Oh
also
my
Baldur's
gosh.
Gate 3 and Starfield are coming out the same weekend. And I'm like,
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to play Baldur's Gate 3 because I ordered the collector's edition and no one can talk to me that day. But the
Oh.
irony is when it comes out, I'll be in Seattle for PAX. So it is
Uh,
absolutely getting installed on my laptop and I'm taking it with me.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm so excited
Starfield
for
comes
that
out on my
game.
birthday.
Yay.
I haven't heard
So
of
now
that
you
game.
all know
What
my
is that?
birthday. Starfield?
Yeah, what is that? I haven't heard anything about it. BG3 has
Uh
been the only thing that has been on my radar like all year.
it's like the people that brought you Skyrim, but
It's
space.
Bethesda.
Oh no.
Bethesda,
Oh
even like
yeah.
Todd Howard.
Oh no.
Let me see if I can grab a link really quick.
Hey.
And
Honestly, yeah.
it is Xbox and PC exclusive, however.
Oh, it's gonna be on PC though. Okay, I thought it was
That's
just Xbox.
Correct.
yeah. As long as you got it
No,
on PC.
AMD announced today that they are the Starfield official PC partner.
Oh.
I personally with Starfield because it comes out on my birthday, but it's not happening for me. I'm not getting that game or the time to play it. But I am excited to watch DJ play it.
Yes, shout out to
That
DJ
is, yeah. Any sci-fi, anything that comes out, I'm like, cool. Can't wait to watch DJ play it. So entertaining. He's so good, and it's also just like all the sci-fi stuff, and it's wonderful because there's a lot more fantasy, you know, shown, and sci-fi doesn't get the kind of love it deserves, in my opinion.
True.
Yeah, I'm excited. And it's interesting because you talked about people that you watch because of watching me. Um I get excited for games because of friends' excitement over games.
Mm-hmm.
So like Eugenio's just like joy and the Opera Geek's joy over Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, fine, I'll get it. Because I gave up on Breath of the Wild.
Me too.
Yeah, I think I haven't gotten any of them because I feel like I'd give up too. But they're so fun to watch other people play.
So I've gotten further in Tears of the Kingdom because, you know, it's weird because I've been streaming it in the morning, but it's also like a wake me up, get the brain moving thing because of the puzzles, because of the ways in which you can creatively solve things.
Oh, interesting.
None of this building stuff is in Breath of the Wild. It's traditionally a Zelda game.
Right.
So I met Divine Beast Ruta, got my ass kicked, and I was like, I'm good.
I see people's clips of that game and the like cool armors they're wearing and the thing, and I'm just like, we're playing a different game, you and I.
Oh yeah.
I'm enjoying the heck out of it, but I'm like, oh, no. I don't. Where do you get all this stuff?
DJ and I will send each other clips that we find on Twitter, and he says literally that he's like, they're playing a whole different game.
I feel like engineers must really love that game just to see what kind of physics they can break.
I found the temple, or not the temple, the shrine that was from the viral clip of someone solving it by getting the wheels to basically drive across.
Oh yeah.
And pull the whatever it is with them. I could not get that to happen. I don't know what blood magic they did, but because I sat there for like 30 minutes. I had someone stream up, and I'm like, I've watched this clip, and it seems straightforward, and I was like, I give up. You're not uncreative. You made a whole quilt, and you make stuff all the time.
Quilts are hard to make. That's precise sewing.
Yeah,
that's precise stuff. I can't do that.
Nope. I can mend clothes barely.
I can rip clothes easily.
You also have a small human, so
he can rip clothes also easily. Yes.
He's very good at getting them dirty.
Yeah.
But he's so cute.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Andy asked me any more like animal or reading questions.
Ooh. The true skill is ripping clothes.
Well, to go back to her animal friend question, I think our mortal enemy is bears because bears. I think like bears are right of the first. I don't like bears. She was in my brain. I don't like bears. Bears often kill me in video games. I've been chased by bears now in Diablo 4, all the time in Dragon Age. Most Assassin's Creed is bears and boars. I don't like them. They like to chase me and kill me.
That's terrifying because like wild animals are like a scary thing, but like if you were to run from a wild animal and it chases you, that's no. And in Dragon Age Inquisition, there's an area where you have to go and make a camp, but you have to run a gauntlet of bears to get there. And I've often tried to go there, been caught by a bear, and then U-turned, and this bear has literally followed me across the hinterlands. No.
And I was like, where's your tether? Why are you still chasing me?
You think you get away from it, just pulls a newspaper down like
you know, Magic and Thaddeus, that wouldn't surprise me.
Do you have like, I'll explain what I mean by this, but do you have like a video game catharsis? Like that you jump into a game, maybe it was before, now, anything, but like when you just need to just like zone out, is there like a video game or a thing that you just pop in because it's just like muscle memory fluid? Like for me, it was, if I was having a bad day, I'd pop in Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 2 and just like web sling around the city.
Oh, that's nice.
It depends. So if I want to play a game that I can play without absolutely thinking, I don't have to. I can play the game by memory and just kind of run around and do whatever because I've played it so much. It's Dragon Age 2. But if I'm having a day, depending on who's around, I often do either Tekken or Street Fighter with Painting Pirate, where we both you had a bad day, I had a bad day. Let's go beat each other up.
Oh, it's like a healthy aggression.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if Pirate's lurking, but if he is, he always says that he's bad at fighting games, but our last few sessions, he has absolutely beat the brakes off me.
So
Who you using?
I never know how to play those.
In Tekken, I usually use the Williams sisters, any of the Jin or oh god, I'm getting them mixed up. Hahachi's son and grandson.
Because Kazuya?
Kazuya, Jin, and then Hahachi, and now Akuma's in Tekken. I don't know why.
Akuma?
Akuma's in the most current Street Fighter, yeah. Or Akuma is in Tekken 7, but so is Negan from The Walking Dead.
What?
Right.
But Negan is horrifying because of his special and the bat, and I'm just like, no. That's the one thing where like neither of us uses Negan at all. And then Street Fighter, Ken, Ryu, Cammy, and I'm trying to learn the new characters from 6, but I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, I want to play 6.
That's on my YouTube, Mandy. One time I did stream it playing with, or we were on PlayStation and Mandy was on voice with us. And the bear you can be in Tekken 7?
Mm-hmm.
One of their attacks is slapping you with a fish. And Pirate was playing the bear and slapped me with a fish.
No.
I love people.
I want to. I sat there. I was like, "Did you just hit me with a fish?"
I would just stop.
Yeah. The character in game goes timeout.
Hey, hold on.
Me, I was like, "What the fuck?" Mandy is like, "I love this." I assumed it was a clip.
So much.
I'm sure it's on. I think it's easier to find on my Instagram, but I know I put that clip somewhere where I just got slapped with a fish.
Danny, I'd like to know about you as well on this
so
one.
sorry.
Do you have like a video
What?
game? Do you have a video game catharsis or something of the sort? I don't know. Other than vampires,
That's the thing, though. It is vampires. It used to be Animal Crossing, of course, because, but yeah, I've put an embarrassing number of hours into V Rising lately. It's just fun to be a little vampire and build your little castle and, just be a little guy who eats people. I just love it. Oh, and I joined a role-playing server, so it's actually quite fun because there's no like PvP. You just all like role-play these little stories out. I didn't know there was ways to play games like that. So,
oh yeah, back in the day of text games and GURPS, before the days of Discord and Zoom, and
I love those text-based games.
Yeah, I felt like I was about to go into the back in my day.
It's okay. I mean, it was good stuff. I'm trying to remember some of the text-based games that I used to love, but none of them are coming to mind.
I miss King's Quest 4. I was like,
you went way back.
I know, but it's one of those like brainworms of just randomly for no reason. I will go to someone, usually someone I know and love, and just be like, I wouldn't do that, Graham. That man has no scruples. Get that little owl companion.
Oh no.
It's just there forever.
What about you, Lee? What's your comfort game?
I mean, it was pretty much the Spider-Man 2. Just
yeah.
yeah. I will say that a video game that changed my life in a way that like altered how I play video games for the rest of my life, Metal Gear Solid 3 was the first time in a Metal Gear Solid game that you could go behind someone and use the knife they gave you, and you could just, instead of having to like jam the button to choke them out, you could just cut them. But at the end of the game, there's like the final boss fight is basically you walking. It's one of those scenes where you can't speed, like you have to push your character forward through the cutscene, basically. Like you're walking in this river and you can't use anything but push forward. And like every enemy that you've killed in game, like walks by you like the way you did it, kind of a thing. So I've got all of these, like it's like a horror-y kind of Sorrow or something was the boss. Whoa. And you just like seeing, and I'm just seeing like all these people with like their heads like that, and we're like teenagers, me and my friends playing as like, oh no, I'm kind of family. We were like giving a storyline and stuff, and then just after a while, we all got really quiet and really uncomfortable. Yeah. And from that day forward, if there is a non-lethal takedown, I go for that. In any video game, if you can like choose between lethal and non-lethal every time, because of how bad I felt.
So much.
Wow. Mandy did not find the bear, but there's a Baldur's Gate 3 clip for you.
Oh no. Intimidating a squirrel? I didn't know you could intimidate squirrels in Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't think I could. I just asked, could I do it? Because the squirrel was sassing me. How do you feel about the box in Metal Gear Solid? Oh my god. Well, every time I hear that noise, I actually look around. The "you've been discovered" noise or whatever it is.
That was my text message sound for a while.
Oh my gosh, I can see that.
Until it drove me out of my mind. And then I was like, oh, time to change it to the Final Fantasy VII theme, victory theme, until that one ruined it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any one sound that I would like to hear enough, but also I usually keep my phone on silent unless I'm expecting someone to call me or text me. So
yeah, just notifications are stressful.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's why Discord's so hard for me.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming.
But join that's how we roll Discord.
Hey!
Wow. I like how you segue into that. I don't really like Discord, but come to our Discord.
I respond to things. Tanya, thank you so much for coming on. I see the future, and it's just us talking about video games and goofing around.
I know.
And I know that it's later for you. I can hear my kids screaming. So this is going to be the end now. This is a to be continued. I'd love to have Tanya come onto our game sometime. I'm throwing that out into the ether.
Should ask Tanya first.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Ooh.
Because I'm a free agent. I have no games going on right now. None.
But thank you so much. You're all over the place. So do you want to tell us where we can find you and what you're up to?
I'm CypherOfTyr everywhere. CYPHEROFTYR. I still stream, still doing that. I usually do so in the mornings before work. Weekends are kind of up in the air because now, again, my weekends I don't know what to do with myself now that my Sundays are free, which has now made me sad. But usually it's 7:30, 8 Central to about 10:30 or so Central. I've been trying to stream a couple days a week before work, and then weekends are just kind of trying to fit in so that I don't overlap friends, but then I can try to start as they're ending, and because we try to raid each other on our stream team on weekends. So we call it Team Cypher Saturdays and Team Cypher Sundays. But yeah, mostly Twitter until it burns down. It feels like it's getting there. Blue Sky, same name. Basically all my socials are CypherOfTyr.
I don't usually do the end. No, but
Roll
Thank
the
you all
credits.
so much for joining us. Danny, do you want to tell everyone where to find you? Because I know that you've been in a bunch of stuff lately, huh?
Sure, cool. Yeah. You can find me at Bitterthorn on the internet. And yeah, if you want to watch a recent actual play that I did, check out In the Name of with Pixel Circus. It's a Magic-Roll themed game. It is very, very fun. And there's lots of emotions. So that's it. That's me. Tell us about you, Lee.
I made this. I helped make this. I did a lot less. I did a lot less. Yeah, okay. It is a microphone, buddy. I'm Lee. I'm not doing too much. I do pancake art and I do Misfits of Alceta. All right, Miles.
But you can watch
That's a lot of
Wednesdays.
talking. You can watch Wednesdays here at 6 p.m. Pacific.
There you go.
There it is.
I couldn't remember the time.
You're right. Urban Bohemian endings are hard. So, Danny, do you want to end it?
So I guess we just won't end it. We'll say see you later.